Hello and welcome to JoyRide with your hosts, the metaphysical moms, Tiffany and Carrie. JoyRide takes you on a spin through all things spiritual and soulful, including holistic healing, energy work, and personal development. Now, here are your hosts, Tiffany and Carrie.
Hello, all our JoyRide tribe. How's everybody doing? Hi, Carrie.
Good morning.
How are you? I'm good. How are you?
Oh, man. I'm telling you, this mom gig, it is 24/7.
It's not for wussies, is it?
It is not. We've had a weird, croupy cough in our house. Then now we have the puke bug in our house.
Oh, no.
It's really fun. I'm sorry. I'll try not to sit so close to you.
It's okay. It comes around. It goes around. This too shall pass.
And it just makes you stronger.
Sending all those healing vibes to you. We have fun tea time today.
With our third mama.
This is our metaphysical mama, Kira McKeown. Welcome, my sweetheart. How are you?
Hey, baby. I'm good. I'm just getting over the croup stuff myself.
So you're thousands of miles away in Colorado, and you have it too. Oh, no.
You can't even blame me that my son played with your son.
I know. And he has it. And so the minute we stop the show, I'm going to take him to the doctor. It's just so fun, this human body stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
It is. Well, thank you for coming on JoyRide today with us again. We love having you with us. This is how it all started, with the three of us sitting around the kitchen table with a cup of tea, with kids playing and dogs barking and talking about life and love and pursuit of happiness.
I love that. And actually, I would like to start this by saying I saw this weekend the dog's Purpose.
Oh, right.
It was so good. Oh my gosh, he was Rascal, by the way, Tiffany's dog, who is just like this ball of muscle and energy.
Big black lab.
And that was this dog. He was not a big black lab, but he completely embodied that. And it was so good. I cried 3 different times, and I hear this guy that sat back behind us, and he said, I told you this would be this movie was just so goofy, and it was terrible. And then his girlfriend said,
"What a dude response."
No. The girlfriend said, "How many times did you cry?" He's like, 3.
Made me cry. It's awful.
It was a terrible movie. Oh, it was so good.
Okay, we'll
Dennis
take the
Quaid
kids
did
to
a great
go
job.
We
Yes.
love our puppies, our furry babies.
Well, so we are so excited. Miss Kira is writing a book.
Kira
almost
had
finished.
a new
Is finished?
book baby.
You did.
Well, it's a half book, baby, right? It's just a little
book
mini
baby.
ebook.
A mini baby.
Filled with kind of a good recap of my last, 15 years worth of lawyering experience, and coupled with my spiritual path. So it's an interesting little compilation of stuff, metaphysical stuff.
You've done such a good job compiling it into a condensed version. I love how much information you've packed into this little, ebook. It's amazing.
50 pages, yeah.
But it's a beautiful journey, and we've been friends for 20 years, and you have been my soul sister from another mister. Yeah. We've gone through so many things together, and your journey for peace within and without has been just nothing short of awe-inspiring, and the way you've handled it with so much grace. And so this book that you have just written and published is on Amazon for Kindle is called Life in the Eye of the Storm, 5 steps to transcending conflict. And it's concise and it's straightforward, and it's a must read for everybody. We all have conflict in our life. And you, as a professional lawyer, have seen it up close and personal, the nitty gritty, the down and dirty, the mean and the ugly. And you're like, this is not the way anymore, people. Right. This is not the way.
Well, and you've played with that idea for quite some time. I know at one point you said, okay, you know what? If you want to come to me to help you split the sheets, so to speak, and you want to get mean and you want to, get at your spouse, I'm not your gal. If you want to come to me, and if you want a peaceful, lifelong partnership, raising these kids, but maybe not in the same house, I'm for you. And I loved that. And I think there's such a huge need, because people live in that fear, and it is a get everything you can while you're in the space, and it gets nasty.
Yeah.
So what drove you to this? This part of it. What drove you to this? When did you say, okay, I've had enough?
Yeah, enough of the paying me $5,000 so I can get a $100 pot for the client it didn't seem logical. It seemed illogical. It seemed unethical for me to say, yeah, go ahead and pay me $150 or $200 an hour to fight over things that you can buy for that much money easily on your own. Why are you doing this? And they just kept showing me that my issues had nothing to do with their need to battle. It had everything to do with my own fears. My clients were showing me to me. I was looking in the mirror.
Mm-hmm.
And I was seeing things about myself that I didn't like. And ethically, I didn't feel right charging to do something I didn't think was in their best interest. But ultimately, what it led me to was a realization that the battle is within. It's inside me. And that my job is to show people not how to get through the divorce process. There's 1,000,001 people to do that for people. What I was able to see after I took my spiritual path was that this battle starts and ends on the inside, period.
Mm-hmm.
And that there's no battle that's worth your soul.
Your peace of mind, yeah.
Continuing to battle with your own soul.
Right.
Because that's basically what we're doing. So my book is really kind of like a mini manual that talks about the ways to see conflict differently. Because if we're going to be in a fight, if we're going to be butting up against people, which we are, we're going to do it. It's going to happen in life. You're going to have disagreements. The question is not if you have arguments or disagreements. I'm not trying to tell people to go be a doormat and just obey and do what everybody else says to avoid conflict. I'm not saying avoid conflict. I'm saying transcend it. See through it. Why is it in front of you?
Mm-hmm.
What can it tell you about you? And how can you rise above it to handle it differently? In other words, so for example, the example that I use in the book is two people getting divorced. Well, the reason I use that is because it's the ultimate conflict. You've got this emotional, illogical kind of chain of pain operating while then you have to go through this logical, linear, business-minded legal process. So you're trying to shove this huge mountain into this little tiny, linear, understandable line. Well, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. You can't fit those two together. So why do we have that in society? Why is it like that? Well, because it's what we've got. Well, then you have a choice. You can either let it control you, and you can completely become a victim of the legal system, and you can completely become a victim of the other person's anger, or you can start to see your part in this and take responsibility for the role that you had in not only bringing it to you, creating it, but in perpetuating it. When does it stop? Well, it stops when you finally own it and embrace it and say, thank you for the pain. Thank you for bringing this message to me, soon to be X. Thank you. And I love you. And let's get along, basically. So that's it in a little baby nutshell.
Well,
that's a lot.
That is a lot. And I think that my guess is if they reached that point maybe a couple years ago, then you wouldn't be there, or you would be there and you'd both kind of shake hands and say, okay, it's, I want something else and see us soon. But it is, I don't know, that seems like a really tall order.
But you've broken it down into the steps on how to do that. You haven't just said this is what you do. You say now this is how you do it. And every journey's different, and you've used the example of divorce, but you've used a lot of your own life experiences along the way and how you've learned and applied these same lessons. So in a nutshell, you give it away. You're like, it's actively seek out your own patterns,
mm-hmm.
enter the silence and ask questions, set people free and cut cords, learn and receive, and think bigger. And each step along the way, you go into great detail, and you got great quotes and examples from all the great thinkers that have gone before us about how to do this. It sounds so much like truth. And it may not be the easiest thing you've ever done, but it is the path to peace with yourself and with others. And I'm just in awe that you've been able to put this so much into such a small, concise book. So, yay, Kira.
Well, we get tired of, I think, 200-page books are great, but I don't have, myself.
Exactly.
I've got 1,000,000 200-page books on my bookshelf that I still haven't even touched. So what I wanted to do was create this little mini manual, kind of mini ebook that it kind of condenses it so people can do a quick read and use it as a reference check, because it's really a reference check for resistance is what I think of it, is how I think of it. Because resistance, this world of energy is flowing. It's flowing. It's flowing through us. It's flowing around us. It's beautiful. And we can either flow with it or we can push against it. So 2 years ago, had these people started to do self-checks and start to grow, who knows where they would be. But they would have been learning about pushing against and about trying to use your own pain to dominate another, to continue to validate your own pain.
Right.
It's a vicious cycle that never stops. And you're going to see the same patterns all through your life, all through your relationships.
That's right.
You start the book by saying you're seeking the conflict and the nature of duality. Can you speak a little bit about that, about how this is the human condition, this nature of duality, and how we enter conflict? And how it can teach us?
It's kind of like just being stuck in the forest when you don't know. You don't know that you can't see the trees. You're stuck in the forest. You are conflict. You become conflict. That's all we know. It's all we've ever been taught. So there's this deep psychosis, I think, that's running through us of fear of separateness, of not being able to control another. When we feel separate and apart from each other, we are stuck in the land of our own fear. But when I can get you to validate who I am, and I can read that through my mirror neurons in my brain, I can read that you are happy, and I can control that, then I'm happy.
Mm-hmm.
The world of duality is creating this separateness. And it's scary because if you're feeling bad, and I'm not feeling bad, but I come upon you and I read that you're feeling bad and I can feel it, then all of a sudden it's about me. Oh, she thinks these things about me, or I'm somehow becoming...
you make it personal, yeah.
I'm making it personal. I'm unable to disconnect from your feelings because we aren't dual. We are one. We are one being. We are one creature. But we appear dual. We appear different in this world. And it's really, really hard to grasp because the brain has been trained to be dual. And it's not right. And it boils down to, are you going to let the logic, the fear that has been rotating through your body, as long as you know it, keep telling you lies, or are you going to feel into your center and feel the truth of who you are and be able to connect with another's truth? So it's basically lie after lie after lie getting caught. So do you have an example of things that you were taught as a child that you continue to believe? They've turned into beliefs.
I have one. Okay, so if I smoke pot, then I will end up doing drugs and on the street. I mean, it really, truly that was my belief, and it kept me, I mean, I don't judge that. I really don't. But for the longest time, it kept me, I think my parents did it to keep me off of drugs, and that, hey, honey, this is what it looks like, and I don't think you want to go there. Okay, so that is one idea I have, which we know statistically that's not the case. So can you speak to that as a belief?
It's it's a belief pattern that has been in your family and you and society for eons. It just looks different in different ways. So the fear that's underneath that is addiction, being pulled away from society, from the norms, from what you should be doing. It's pulling you away from that. So that fear is a pattern that's part of the wanting and the not wanting. In other words, you want to be a part of society. I want to be a part of society. It feels good to be a part of society. We're together. We're one. We're stronger when we're together. If I smoke pot, if I steal, if I do anything that pulls me away from society, then I'm going to be separate. I'm going to be left out in the cold. So there's this ribbon of fear that looks like a pot fear, because it is, but it also is fear whenever your child exhibits, like, steals scissors from his mate at school. Well, that's that same fear. It's the same fear. You're going to be left out. You're going to not be included if you steal, if you do wrong things.
Mm-hmm.
It's the same fear. It's different scenarios and different people, but it's the same patterns.
Right.
Of don't leave me out in the cold. Well, the dual world is a scary place to be. In other words, there's good and bad and left and right and being included and not being included. Well, that's a belief. These are beliefs. And so the dual world has expanded these beliefs. But they're mental beliefs. They're brain-created fears. And so the steps that I'm learning, that I'm basically channeling through this book, that I'm being told by my own guides, is to go inside and find what is true. Because you can all day long interact with other people, but all you're going to get, really, unless somebody's fully centered in their core and in the state of love, you're only going to get pushed and pulled by their beliefs that trigger old beliefs of yours. And so then you're stuck in this wheel of defending beliefs all the time. I've got to avoid that fear and then avoid that fear. And in the book, I talk about how we can do fear jumping. We just go from one fear to the next.
Mm-hmm.
So my boyfriend breaks up with me, and then I go sleep with somebody else. And then, oops, now I have a fear about sexually transmitted diseases. And then the ex wants me back. And then, oops, I got to talk to him about the fact that I just went and slept with somebody. And then so these fears just go back and forth. And they all hinge upon trying to control our external reality to make our internal selves safe. When they're already safe.
Yeah,
wow.
You've said so much already. I'm following you right along, and it's the need to continuously make the outside okay, whether it's a person or a relationship, or control a situation so that I feel safe and okay inside, because we're not understanding the truth with a capital T of who we truly are. So can you speak to who we truly are? Because that sets the basis for allowing all of this to actively seek your patterns and be in the silence and set people free. In the human world, that doesn't make sense. But when you understand the truth of who you are, that makes perfect sense. So,
well, it does, because that's the nature of the dual world, right? The dual world is an inherently unsafe place. Because anytime you have money, then you already also, the opposite exists. You don't have money. When you have health, you also don't have health.
Okay,
quantum physics.
I get so confused when you say these kinds of things. Back up.
Yeah.
So if I have money, I don't have money. Is it the fear that I don't have money? Is it a fear that now I have something that I can lose? Yes.
Yes, because with every one thing, there is two things. It's that and its opposite. That's the nature of the dual world. It's just science.
That's okay. Kira, hold that thought. We are speaking with Kira McKeown about a lot of very deep introspective work, but we're going to take a short break, take a breath, get some tea. We'll be right back on JoyRide.
Oh, I've missed this.
Taking down your neighbor won't take you any higher. I burn my own damn feet. Hey, it's Tiffany.
And it's Carrie with the JoyRide Show.
Carrie, did you know that the girls from the Shiny Show, Carrie and Allison, are taking the Shiny Show on the road to Vegas and everyone's invited?
Yes, I did. It's Shiny Does God in Sin City, May 12th through the 14th.
Yes, they have all sorts of spiritual fun planned. They're going to be channeling the spirits of Vegas past, like Bugsy and Capone. They'll be channeling God, source energy, holding workshops.
Yay! You can sign up for 1, 2, or all 3 days.
Okay, so I'll put the info on our website at joyrideshow.com on the links page.
That's one weekend you won't want to miss.
Absolutely.
Hi, guys. We're back.
We're back with JoyRide. We're speaking with our friend Kira McKeown, who has just written a new ebook called Life in the Eye. It's all about how to transcend conflict in 5 easy steps. And we've been talking a lot about conflict and duality and the nature of all of this and all of our emotions, and it's a big topic. And I had said that I feel like if we understood who we truly are, it helps us transcend this conflict, like you're speaking to. But we're so based in this 3D world of separateness, and that's you and your problems, and I'm blaming you, and this is me and my stuff, and I'm making everything personal about me. Mm-hmm. How do you even get out of that forest? Mm-hmm. And what is the alternative? What does it even look like? Who are we truly when all we see and sense with our 5 senses is this world of duality? So does that make sense? Is that a good question? To kind of base this on how to do this? And okay.
No, I think it's brilliant, and I think that the whole subject is incredibly deep and difficult to digest for a lot of people, and that's why we just blow it off. It's easier to just continue to live the habits of your learning, of your programming, of your childhood, than it is to dive into who you are in your mind versus who you feel you are in your heart. Mm-hmm. And that's what this book is about. It's about there's this space inside you that holds your truth. And there are as many truths on this earth as there are humans. There is not one truth with a capital T, according to my guides. It doesn't exist. There is a connecting point inside you to others that is truthful, and that is a unified truth. But each, as it's expressed and through each person's experience and through each soul in the body, is different. So each person, I'm suggesting in this book, is best served by stepping out of the forest, by going inside. But the answers to who we are do not reside in Nordstrom's or at Starbucks or in somebody else's brain. The answer to who we are lie in only one place, and that's inside. So you have to go inside and start investigating the energy and the feelings. Let's just call it energy feelings, right? Because energy can kind of confuse. It's just feelings. Mm-hmm. Investigating the feelings of who you are, whether it's physiological or emotional, you go inside. And then you start getting to know that stuff so that you don't get pushed and pulled by everybody else's opinions anymore. Well, you are who you are.
And I think that I know for a very, very, very long time, I sought that outside of myself. And depending on who I was with, what friends I had, look at the 12-year-olds. I mean, all the girls, they dress alike, they look alike. You know, they're trying to find their tribe, and they're trying to fit in, which implies they're different. You know, there is no such thing. And I just think that you have taught me that in order to really facilitate this process of finding out who you actually are, you have to ask questions. Why? And I love that, because you do come up with your own answers, and you start saying, you know, I like that she has red hair, Tiffany has red hair, but doesn't mean I need to go dye my hair red. I mean, that's a goofy example, but it is what I've worked really hard. I've really worked hard on this, of finding out what Carrie likes and what Carrie wants. And what's funny is there will be people that fall away, but then others come that are truly your soul tribe. And there is no more pretending. So anyway, that was just my little side path. But
we have, and I think that we have turned being different into a bad thing because of the sociological need to group together to stay alive.
Sure.
We've had through thousands of years, we had to get together so that we could hunt the mammoth or the buffalo. We needed each other on that to that level, and that was a very base fear that was driving that need to join together to be one in a very physiological external sense. But as soon as the internet hit, everything changed. And the reason I'm saying that is because for me, karma is the great equalizer, and that is a chapter in this book that karma is just another word for cause and effect. You get what you do. You get what you think. You get who you are. That's it. It's just what's happening. And it's all we're doing is continuing to rebound each other to, one idea of good to each other. Then we're just creating more of this one kind of beige thing, and nobody is finding themselves. So we're all kind of getting lost in somebody else's definition of what is good. Fashion trends or celebrity. Well, the internet has changed all that. So as the internet has allowed us all to kind of start going, I'm a different person, and here's my different take on everything, and here's my different show, and here's my different way of doing things. They've shifted their karmic path. In other words, they've shifted their cause and effect. All of a sudden, their uniqueness gets to come out and be beautiful. And
Celebrated.
All of a sudden, now the beige, we're celebrating this uniqueness. And now, not everything is just Beyonce or Jay-Z. Everything's now, there's those weird guys on the internet and cool JoyRide show, and now we've got all these colors that are kind of gracing our vision of, I could do that. I could do that, and I have a different take, an entirely different take on how to do that.
Prisms.
Well, the beauty is that we're taking the power back, our individual power, because the guides have told me, my guides, my inner being, my soul that was writing through me has said, you have a duty to find your individual color. There's nobody like you. Not another soul, not even your twin sister is like you. You're all different. So bring out that individuality, bring out that love. But you can't do that if you're following the tribe, if you're following the crowd. You can't. And then that leads into the conflict issue. How do you, where's the conflict? Well, the conflict's not outside. The conflict's inside. I'm fighting against my own individuality. I'm trying to follow somebody else's hair color. I'm trying to follow their way of being.
But often these beliefs are so ingrained generationally sometimes. You absorb them from your parents, and they don't kind of feel right, but you don't know what else is there, or you don't know how to get out of it, or it's just, and you never question it. Some people just never question everything that's been handed down, and you just kind of go along even if it doesn't fit you. So I think conflict is the great way to kind of see, this isn't working for me. This whole conflict and what you're doing and what you're trying to make me do is not working. It's a great way. It's a great starting point. It's a great gift for you to go inside. And the first one is actively seek out your patterns. That's your very first step in here is what are these beliefs and behaviors that your knee-jerk reactions to these things. What are they, and how are they truly you? Are they what you want to be up to, and how can you change those? So can you speak a little bit more to how you actively seek out your own patterns of behavior and thoughts and vibes, energies?
But I want to put a pin on the conflict. Well, okay, to wrap that part up first, though, that it unfortunately, it seems that in order to get out of the group mentality, there has to be conflict. Or does there? So I do want to talk about that too. Do you have to leave a marriage, a group of friends, a school that doesn't fit via conflict. I mean, I think that's how we're taught, but I don't think it necessarily has to be that way. Fine, I don't want to be with you anymore, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
So, two
It's
different
the same
ideas
question
there.
you just both. Well, it's the same. To me, it's the same what you guys just asked, because it's being
I
stuck,
asked in my
right?
ways, your way.
We asked in our own way.
So-
Our individual.
Yeah.
Our individual ways.
No, it's good because it's two different examples of the same scenario. Whether it's generational bondage or generational belief patterns that have been programmed into your mind, or that are coming out as just habitual kind of ways of handling, old family pain, or is that family pain coming through your friendship relationships, your work relationships? It's all the same. It's all the same pain. Because if my belief that I have to look a certain way before I walk out the door, or else everybody will hate me and I'll get fired, that fear of judgment, that fear of not fitting in, it will bleed into my friendships and my work. It will. It's inevitable. It has to be. It's the karma. It's the cause and effect. So in order to break free of that, you have to first see that you're in conflict, that your external issues are not external. They're not caused by the other person. It's never the other person. The other person is a symptom. The symptom of you and your conflict.
Right.
Okay, that's
And
a
I'm
big,
not saying-
huge thing. Hold on, pause, because that's
Yeah.
everything that's happening that's upsetting you is not the other person. It's all you. That's a huge
Yep.
thing to kind of even just get. And
Yeah.
because people are doing things and saying things, or not doing things and not saying things that you think you need and want. And so all those finger pointings, it's a lot of outward blame. It's a real huge thing to turn that around and
error.
say, this is me causing this? There's no way I've caused that. There's no way.
Well, it's not that you're making somebody else feel or mistreat you, but it is your beliefs have pulled that scenario to you, and your beliefs have put color on the scenario.
Right.
So if somebody's stealing from another person and you're watching it, it's beige. It's just a thing that's happened. But your belief that that's wrong makes it gives you a bad feeling inside. Well, for most of us that would be the case.
Mm-hmm.
But if that's just going to happen, you have a choice to give it the color that you're giving it or not.
Yeah.
You can either make that create immense turmoil inside you, or you can go, gosh, 911, there's something bad going on here. And then, I love you guys, I got to move on. I mean, what can you do? Or stop it. The point is that we get embroiled inside. We let ourselves get all twisted up inside and torn apart when really there's another way. So an example is the friend scenario, Carrie, that you brought up. And I'm stuck, I feel stuck in a scenario where I've got a friend who's always upset, always calling me every day, literally, or they're always going to jail, or there's something always going on. So I feel stuck because this person cannot get their stuff together, and they keep calling me to bail them out or to help in some way. Well, that's my deal. That's my responsibility. I pulled that to me. Why do I feel like I have to rescue? Oh, there it is. I feel like I have to rescue. Where else am I doing that? Could it possibly be that every time my child forgets something, I'm running to the school to take it to them? I'm rescuing animals off the side of the road. I'm rescuing. It's just this, I'm caught in this rescue. Why do I feel like I have to rescue people and things? Oh, I'm feeling like I need to be rescued. It's the feeling needing to be rescued that is the problem. I don't care how it manifests or looks in your life, that you will find a pattern for that same emotion if you look, and you'll say, I believe that somebody needs rescuing, and since I am the perceiver, it must be me. Or I feel like I'm nothing until I'm rescuing. I don't know. And each person has his or her own truth about the pattern. Your heart knows what the true pain is that's asking to be healed through the patterns. Yeah, Carrie?
No, I was just going to say that it's interesting how we all feed off each other. The first time I heard that, I think I met with you the first time for tapping 3
Carrie
years
came
ago.
to me. Yeah, it was about 3 years ago for some tapping.
And I
EFT
just
work.
really recall you saying, where have you seen this before? Where has this shown up in your life?
Yeah, either the
Before.
first time or the biggest time, and then you create a response, and then that just becomes your pattern. And if you don't, and many times it's an unconscious pattern. You're doing something, you're not even aware that you're doing it over and over again. So when you're saying seek out your patterns, you're saying consciously look for what I'm doing and how I'm drawing this and how this emotion is creating these behaviors, and I'm doing over and over, and I'm doing it because it feels good, and then I resent it, and then I'm mad and blaming you because I don't have any time or money or energy anymore, but I'm the one that's creating the problem. Yeah,
Absolutely. Are you over volunteering? Tiffany and I've had this issue because we both had the same tendencies to over volunteer or over. Carrie's like, no.
I got past that one a long time ago.
So, but then it was just over efforting in a lot of different ways. The pattern was there. It was in everything.
well, my pattern on that one was not liking saying no to people. I didn't want to say no out of fear of not being included, not being asked again.
You don't do that anymore.
Oh no, yeah, I'm good at saying.
She says no, Carrie. I'm not going.
Okay, my big trick on that was that doesn't work for me. 5 words. That doesn't work for me. It's not no. There's no long explanation. It's just, you know what? That doesn't work for me, and it kind of stops the.
I love it.
It stops
Like,
it, and you just okay.
Okay.
And how's the weather?
I love it. I love it.
So it's
just a pattern. I think it's the patterns that become ingrained. And so what I did essentially many years ago, as I started seeing my patterns, I decided to reprogram and then enter EFT and different options for me because I said, I want to reprogram my brain. I didn't know that it was a patterns problem. I knew that I was the common denominator in all my problems.
Mm-hmm.
That I had continuously made it about everybody else, and at some point, after it happening so many times, I finally had to say, it's just not, it can't be everybody else.
It's lonely up here on my cloud.
Literally, it's lonely here and with my little halo on. It's just never the case. So scientifically, mathematically, it wasn't. So it was me. And I had to look at the self, and then that's when the patterns. I said, "Oh, it's patterns. I see it's happening again. The same thing."
And you can see it with your friends.
It's hard to swallow.
You can see it in everybody else. You can see when they're dating the same guy, when they go through the same roller coaster road. You see it clearly in everybody else, but it's really hard to see your own patterns.
Al-Anon.
So ask your friends, ask your loved ones, what are my patterns? And if they love you, they will tell you. And you have to smile and say thank you.
Don't ask.
Thank you.
Don't ask unless you're really
Unless
ready.
you're really ready to hear it, say thank you. Okay.
Oh, wait, this is my door. I can walk through this door and tell you how. Yeah, that's the whole point of Al-Anon is it's letting go of well, maybe not the whole point, but that you let go of everyone. And I once went to a session, and I was amazed at how many people had spouses, siblings, children that had the exact same issue, the exact same conflict. And I had no idea. I mean, I hadn't even thought about any of this. And I just remember thinking, why do they keep picking the same people? Why are their children doing the same thing? Why? And now you're giving me great insight into this.
Yeah, there's a lot of similarities with the 12 steps of a lot of this 12-step programs. A lot of differences, but I can see there's similarity in just owning your own responsibility and making amends and doing the work.
Surrendering to a higher power.
Surrendering to a higher power. So when we're going to take a short break in just a minute, but when we come back, I want to see if you can put a toe in the water with us with these other steps of entering the silence and asking these questions. And just like you were saying, setting people free and cutting cords, learning to receive, and then thinking bigger. I would love to learn to think bigger. I know that's somewhere I've been. So We're going to take a short
Apparently
break here.
That's the big answer, too.
That's the big answer.
Okay.
So when we come back, we're going to talk about how to enter the silence, ask questions, set people free, learn to receive, and think bigger. Back with more JoyRide in just a moment.
I was a highwayman. On the roads I did ride.
Hi guys, we're back with our lovely third metaphysical mom, Kira. Kira has written this incredible book, and it really is phenomenal. And I have to say that I have lived this with her for the last few years, and she has taught me so much. And also, she is a spiritual coach, and I have been coached by her. And this stuff really works. It just shifts it to a place where you can view things that at one time may have really just set you off and you do damage. At least I did. I could hurt people with my words, and I could yell and scream and stomp and not really know why, and then get embarrassed, and it's just that whole thing that you go through. And I'd like to say I think for the most part I've kind of retooled that when conflict shows up in my life, I look at it, I wonder about it, I'm able to walk into it. And I think that I heard those words more than anything. Carrie, walk into it. You're being asked to walk into this. And so I love that you've put this in a format that we can actually digest and read and apply. And so thank you for that. I know this is taken freakishly not a lot. I don't think it's really taken you that long to write this book. I think this book came through in a flash.
Well, it's been many years. I've been writing different things, and finally I've been able to hone in on exactly what it was my soul wanted to talk about.
It does. And you said you channeled it, so you must have entered the silence to receive this information. You don't get it when you're busy out there trying to control, and you don't get the download. You don't get that insight. You're saying, I don't know. What is the truth? My truth.
Well, people generally, and it is facing fears, right, to find out who you are, because you're behind the fears. You're on the other side of the fears.
Right. They're the walls.
And the fears are the walls. They're masking yourself. And so when you enter the silence, people think of that as meditation or anything, and that's fine, but it's an awareness of the presence of who you are. Inside you, there's this space, and I call it, I was given these words, called the sacred space between. It's this energy space that's inside each person that holds the universe, the ether of the universe, and all the stars and all the planets. That energy is inside you. It's just in a little sliver, tiny, tiny sliver of energy inside you. Well, if you could go into that with your mind's eye, and you can just go and seek out that space, like as if you had been flown out on a rocket out into space, and you jump out and you're floating, but you're doing it inside the body. Mm-hmm. And it's hollow. It's a hollowed space, and you can hear for miles, and you can see for miles, and it's this amazing quiet. And it's this little tiny child in there that is like Buddha. It's like a little Buddha child inside each person. And it's a different person, but it's a quiet knowing. And if you can go and meet with that person, which is just your soul, on a daily basis, then you'll begin to understand that everything that you're living on the outside is created by the brain. And it's okay, and it's fun, and it's good, but it's not who you really are. Until you go into your own silence, I don't care what it looks like to you. To me, it looks like the universe. It could be different for everybody, and probably is. But it's quiet. And when you can go there and be still for 5-10 minutes and ask questions and start opening the mind to, what's another way for me to see my problems at work? What's another way for me to see me? Who am I? Why am I here? What is my purpose? Just start asking all these questions, and you'll get answers. Mm-hmm. It's 100% that you'll get answers. And that's getting out of the trap. That's setting yourself free from the trap of the human condition. So I am stuck in the body with nowhere to go when I am lost in my fear. I can literally get lost in my fears, and it's sticky fly paper that I cannot get off. One fear creates another fear, creates another fear. It's a vicious cycle, and we all get stuck on this. And I call it the hamster wheel of hell. We get stuck on this hamster wheel. Ultimately, in the end, the answers that you seek are never outside you. Never. There's nothing outside you. There's not another person. There's no amount of money that's the fix. It doesn't exist. That doesn't mean you don't go have fun, but it's not your fix.
So that quiet space, the little Buddha child, it's, as a Christian, it's the Christ consciousness in my, in that interpretation, it's that same Christ consciousness, and the Bible is pretty much everything you've just said here. It's saying the same thing. It's and the answers may not always come as a loud voice in your head. At least my answers may come as a book that shows up the next day, or a song on the radio, or just a kind of a knowing feeling. So the answers can come in a lot of different ways, but when you hear it, you know it. You're like, that's the answer to my question, and that feels like truth. Has that been your experience?
Right. It's been my experience that the answer. So. This is where we start kind of tripping up. I think we each say things differently. We each have a different way of defining our own truth. And when I say that the answers do not ever lie on the outside, I mean the source of the problem has come up inside your mind. In other words, if I am blocked by somebody at work, I think it's that person. And I think that getting that person fired is my answer. Well, if I start going inside into the silence and asking for another way, different answers may show up on the outside. That's not the answer. The answer was to go inside and ask.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And then, a book kind of came up because a new door in the mind opened that showed you, there's this whole other way, because you're not supposed to be at that job. You're supposed to be at this whole other job that is way better, because your purpose is this whole long thing that you didn't even know until you stepped into the silence. Right. And now all of a sudden that person was your not only not your enemy, but is your ally to getting you aligned with your purpose.
And that's what all conflict should be, right?
Feeling, but
helps you get aligned with your purpose, however it looks on the outside.
Conflict.
It's all helps you get aligned with who you truly are.
I see this as like this red flag that pops up, and otherwise you just keep moving, you keep walking, and then all of a sudden, like you're walking through this wheat field, and all of a sudden you see the big red flag. It's like, oh, there it is, and then you go over and you deal with it, and you put it to rest, and then you keep walking. And so they're just flags going, hey, look over here.
It's funny that you say that, because Dr. Jennifer has been on your show before, and we have these other friends, and we all talk, and Jennifer has always said this, and it made me laugh because it was so profoundly true to me, which is that this conflict, this contrast, they're just friendly pointers. They're pointing you to you. What are your beliefs? So I used an example in my little booklet there that is about one night I'm in bed asleep, and my adult daughter calls and says, I just had my purse stolen. And, we're all just here at this concert, and we're out in this field, and it's a bunch of people here. It's out near Austin, and my car keys were in the purse, and now we don't have any way to get home, and I don't know what to do. The cell phone, I'm using my other friend's cell phone because my phone's in there, and I don't know what to do. And I said, okay, well, if you don't figure out an option, call me back, and I'll start calling around for somebody to come, open your car and get rekeying the car, whatever. And she said, okay. So we hung up, and I'm still sleepy, and I kind of roll over and I say to myself, I see that I believe that my children can get themselves in trouble and be hurt, and that other people can hurt them, that there are bad people in the world. I believe that. I see that. And so I rolled over and kind of went back to sleep in a weird feeling of trust. I really just trusted. I didn't know why. And I got a call a few minutes later from her saying, we called and called and called the phone, and the person finally showed up with a purse and said, here's your purse.
Give it back.
And
It
she
changed
said
the
they were
outcome.
kind of weird. That changed the outcome, for me at least. And I don't know what the dynamics are of quantum physics. I don't know. All I know is that intention changes particles.
It does.
I know that we manipulate particles. Did I manipulate particles enough on such a level on that scenario that it really literally changed it? Was it supposed to be that way? I don't know. All I know is that I'm owning my beliefs. And I'm seeing them objectively. I'm saying, I see how I think, and I see what I believe, and I see that it doesn't feel good.
And you trusted and had
Doesn't
faith
feel
and let
right.
it go, and the miracle transformed. I know it's a simple little
Yes.
example, but it worked, and you kept
Yeah.
peace of mind.
Seemed to work, yeah.
It
And
worked
that's
in
all
my
that matters.
book.
And it spurred more belief in miracles for me. It just created like an open mind, which leads us to the next few steps, because as we get caught up with people, in other words, these mirror neurons in the brain are so strong that there are empathic power, there are superpowers. We can read each other's minds, and we can be compassionate with them, and we can speak telepathically through these neurons in the brain. I mean, it's amazing what the brain can do. But it also is an open door to the virus of fear. So we're connecting to other people's fears so easily because we're connected emotionally to them. And we have to cut cords. We have to cut the emotional cords with people so that then another form of the relationship has a chance to happen that is based more on individual truths. In other words, instead of me always following you, Carrie, or you, Tiffany, and always doing what you want, or always thinking along your lines, and then feeling mad about it because I'm not feeling free for whatever reason. It's a subconscious thing. I'm cutting my cords emotionally with you guys. I say, I love you, but go. You go do your thing, I do me. When we do this, I am free, and I am all of a sudden, I'm so powerful in my own individuality and my own who I am, that my heart opens in a different way, and then it connects with yours because you're individual. So then our hearts can connect, and then I'm not caught in your web of fear, and you're not caught in my web of fear. So these old pain fear cords that I've cut has enabled us to create this whole other relationship.
Mm-hmm.
It's beautiful. But we have to let go of the old beliefs about the people that we've created with them over 20 years first.
Well, and this stuff gets so deep because if you have a vibration of fear, one will play the victim and one will play the perpetrator. One plays the enabler, one plays the dependent person, and it's a very intimate relationship, and it feels very strong. And I think we often mistake that for true love. Get married and have babies, and then all of a sudden you say, "Wait, this doesn't feel good anymore." And want to separate it. So you're saying once you sort of step into your own power and you invite your partner, if they can or are willing or able to step into their own power, you don't play that game anymore. You transcend it.
Yes.
And then
But the problem is that your pain no longer matches.
your pain doesn't
Right.
match anymore. Right. When you step out of it.
So you're in contrast.
But I believe a rising tide raises all
relationship
ships.
may go.
That's true.
When you raise your vibration, it gives them another chance, a chance if they want to raise theirs too. So
Absolutely.
it's not your responsibility what they think or
Absolutely.
what they do, but it gives more probability for it, for a better outcome.
Well, and that's the key, because when you cut cords, then you're really claiming that. You're saying, I no longer can, I never could, I never was responsible for your emotions, but I definitely no longer can manage your emotions and mine, so I'm going to give you yours.
And I love
Bye-bye.
you enough to give it back to you because it was never mine anyway.
You know what, though? That is such a really messed up paradigm we live in, which is jealousy, controlling. It means love. I love you. Therefore, if you talk to that other person, I'm upset about it, you know? And I think so many, I think that's a very teenagey
conditional
teenager
love.
thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but it's that, he's so jealous. He hit that boy for me. You know, I mean, and that is such a warped, you know, as we grow up, we realize that that's not a good thing. And I know a lot of folks that have been in relationships that have looked that way, that they're controlled. And I think there's a lot of safety in that. but then at some point that
mental
person
safety,
outgrows.
right? Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm not saying it's good. I think you outgrow that person. I think that's what was that show, My Fair Lady, or the play? I think that was that whole thing. You know, it's like you outgrow that person, and and really that doesn't need to happen. If everyone just kind of let everybody do what they need to do, it's sort of the bird, set the bird free and it comes back.
So setting them free and cutting cords and learning to receive.
Oh, that's a hard one.
That's a big one too, right? Especially
Sounds
if you're
simple.
a doer and a giver, and like you said, the rescuing. When I rescue everybody, then I'll feel good, and it never really does. Maybe temporarily, but it really never fills that hole. So how do you receive that for yourself? That nurturing, that safety, that love, the you.
Well, the psychosis of fear, and I call it a psychosis because it is.
Yeah.
For me, it's a brain malfunction. The brain thinks it's in charge, and it has shut the heart down. When it shuts the heart down, we can't receive. For me, my example was that I kept being the giver, because I always wanted to keep people under my control. I didn't want to open my heart and receive. It was scary. It was too scary. And so I would always do the giving. Well, then it was also a weird, kind of twisted way to be taking from somebody, because ultimately I'm making somebody receive what I'm giving. In other words, it's saying, I'm going to stay safe in this relationship, and I'm going to make you happy. I'm going to always give you stuff, or I'm always going to be the calling friend, or I'm always going to, I'm going to do the one doing all the work. And then you're going to be grateful, and you're going to play this part, and you're going to do all these things. And this is happening in the brain. But when it doesn't happen, I get mad and start holding it against the other person, that they didn't read my mind, number one, and number two, that they didn't step into queue and become the receiver to my giving.
Mm-hmm.
I was not only taking from somebody in that sense, but I was losing power. I was giving away my power. So when I decided, that's a taking, I'm literally taking, I'm going to start figuring out why I can't receive. Where's the pattern of me not being able to receive? Well, the pattern is, where's my money? Where's the love? Where's, what I want? What is it that I want? I don't know. I've been defending against what I don't want for so long that I don't even know what I want.
Oh, I love that.
And that takes us to step 5, which is think bigger. How do I even think bigger of what do I want?
Yeah.
In a big scale.
Well, the minute you start learning to receive and saying, look, I am who I am, and I get to receive good things, and I'm going to receive good things from people who want to give them. And I'm going to open my heart, and you do this, and you step into your silence, and you continue to track your patterns, and you just stay in this space of independence, glory, of loving the self and going, I don't care what other people think. I'm not following them anymore. And I'm going to receive the good things that I attract, because I'm magnetic from this space. I'm magnetic to the beauty of what I really deeply want. What do I want? There is, in the law of attraction, a notion that you are attracting only that which you are. The way that you are vibrating is what you are attracting to you, period. It doesn't matter what you say or what you try to control other people into doing, or what you do every day. None of that matters. What matters is the vibrations of the frequencies of who you are,
right?
Who you believe, which comes from your beliefs. And so when I tried to envision what I wanted, I want a new car, I wanted a new income, I want a new career, I want a house, I would feel this resistance inside me. I could feel it. I could feel a kind of like a doubt. Yeah. So we could, do we need to do we have to take a minute?
We're about to wrap the show up. We want to finish.
We have so
feel
much
like we
more.
can talk forever
done.
to you. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm like, we got to go. We love you,
man.
Kira.
So-
Go to shetalk.com,
Yeah, I love you.
and we'll put all the links to everything we're talking about on joyrideshow.com. Thank you, Kira.
Thank you.
Sorry to cut it off
I
so
love
short.
you.
Love
No,
you.
we're good.
We'll talk soon.
Love you.
Mwah. Bye, dear.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
This is Radio Brave. Keep listening. It gets even better.
Now let's do it up.
Radio Brave.